LUSAS version 20 brings many user experience improvements. In this video, I'll summarize the main ones. If we draw a line, it looks much the same as it always did. But if we sweep that line to create a surface, we can now see that we have transparency. Instead of having 4 green lines with white space in between, we can now see a 2-dimensional object with this light green shading. We've also added a simplified mirror function to copy, allowing us to simply select which direction we want to mirror the structure in. When we go into the geometric section library, we can now find our parametric calculators are contained within here. So if we wanted to create a custom eye section, we can enter the dimensions, give it a name, and it's loaded straight into the section library dialog. It's also saved within the utilities menu from where it can be edited if we wish to. We also have new controls to make it easier to define offsets. So if we select the Z-axis origin as being at the top fiber and the Y origin as being at the centroid, we can see we've defined the offset as being at the top of the cross-section. The arbitrary section property calculator is similarly been added to the section library dialog. This now fires up a separate window within your LUSAS model rather than requiring a separate LUSAS model. We could use a standard shape as a starting point. And we could then modify it as we wished. We can also define different materials within the structure. So maybe we've got some of the steel has got a stiffness of 205 E6. And some of it is maybe a bit stiffer. So if our main girder was the original material, but we added a new plate to the bottom face in the different material, LUSAS can then calculate composite properties, converting everything into whichever material was specified as the reference material. Again, this is saved within the utilities tree view for future editing if desired. I'm also going to define a surface thickness of 0.2 meters and an eccentricity of half that thickness. If we switch now to a model where I define a little bit more geometry and a few more attributes, I'm going to assign the beam mesh to my girder lines, a null mesh to the other lines, and a surface mesh to the surfaces. Again, the surface mesh has now got a transparent yellow colour rather than just being white. If we select the beam elements and assign our girder cross section and select the surfaces to assign our surface thickness and switch to isometric view, we can now see how the transparency of the surfaces allows us to see through to see the girders underneath. On the toolbar menu, we now have these transparency options where we can make the whole model opaque, make the whole model transparent, or go to our defaults, which is transparent for surfaces and opaque for beams. We feel that this works best with models that have both types. We can also right-click on the geometric properties individually to choose whether they're transparent or not. You'll also notice that the icons now show a colour for the type of feature that they can be assigned to. Anything that can only be assigned to line features has got pink symbol, anything to surfaces has the green symbol. Also, we can see that the colour shows whether it is transparent or not. Additionally, we can now drag to reorder the numbering if we wish to. Also, at the bottom of the attributes tree view, we can select which attributes we want to be displayed and which ones we just want to leave collapsed. On a simple model like this, it's not particularly useful, but on a large model, being able to drill down to the type of attributes that you want to see can be very helpful. Switching now to a model with results. If we turn on the contours layer to look at results in the shell, we can see that any through thickness results are shown through the full fleshed thickness of the shell. If we switch to a component such as top or bottom, we will now see that this is shown in the correct location. Additionally, within the contours layer, our display tab has been changed to this appearance tab, giving a few helpful defaults. Particularly for design, having a color system with anything over 1 being shown in red can be particularly useful. If we create a basic combination, we'll see a few changes here too. For example, we can click on an envelope and click View to see which load cases are contained within that envelope definition. If we create a combination, putting in some ULS factors, we can now right-click on the combination and examine definition to see a drill-down tree of everything contained within that combination. There are lots of other little improvements, and big ones, with version 20. This video was just covering a few of the main user experience improvements.